is Alexa Forget, and my presentation is for GPY 356 is the immigrant foreign-born population in an EU member country versus in a non-EU member country. To begin, we were asked to evaluate and compare location quotients. I chose obviously the immigrant foreign-born in an EU member country versus versus in an immigrant foreign-born in a non-EU member country. Those born in an EU member country are the population of individuals who are immigrants that are foreign-born but are from another EU member country. Typically, it's going to be somebody who's from Europe, although not all European countries are part of the European Union. And then if they're foreign-born in a non-EU member country, it's the population of individuals who are immigrants that are foreign-born from a country that is not a part of the EU. And a location quotient is used to describe the relative concentration of something in one section, in this case a European country, of a larger area, Europe. My hypothesis was that if a particular country has a large amount of immigrants that are foreign-born in an EU member country, that they will also have a large amount of immigrants that are foreign-born in a non-EU member country. Typically, I guess this would be because that there are, if it's desirable for one group of immigrants, it's probably going to be desirable for other immigrants as well, because it probably means their economy is better, or that they have more job opportunities, or whatever. I think that this correlation will occur, but that there will be more immigrants from within the EU, for it is relatively easy for people to move within it. I think that there will be a positive linear relationship between the two location quotients. I found the information for my project for both types of immigrants from Eurostat, and the information was said to be from 2012. The data was presented in a table with numbers of thousands of individuals, and they also had percentages. However, I only used the numbers because that was what was needed to find the location quotient for each member country. The data table included the total number of foreign-born immigrants, the total number of immigrants in Europe, the number of foreign-born immigrants from an EU member country, and the number of foreign-born immigrants from a non-EU member country. At the bottom is where I found it's the URL for the data. The methods used were the location quotient method, and it uses country-level quantitative data with population as the norm. I used 32 countries in Europe to find my location quotient because those were the only countries that I could find the data for on that particular website. And then below is the location quotient formula. First, to find the location quotient, you have to find the country ratio for each variable and each country. To do that, you took the thousands of foreign-born in an EU member country divided by the country population. Europe's ratio for each variable is the thousands of immigrants in Europe divided by the total population of Europe. Then I divided each country ratio by the nation ratio for each country and each variable. This is an example of my spreadsheet. I struggled quite a bit making the spreadsheet, and I had to have Professor Wagendorp fix it. But as you can see, that everything is in order a little bit. You can't see all 32 countries because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see the top of the table, which tells you that it's the LQ for immigrant foreign-born in an EU member country. The country location quotients were mapped individually by variable, and I made my maps personally by hand using the outline map of Europe and shading them in with colored pencils, and I took the country abbreviations that are like the national abbreviations and wrote those on each individual country so you could tell which one was which. The values, I grouped them into 4 categories with 8 countries in each group. In the symbology, I used 4 distinct colors. They're red, orange, green, and blue. For my results, the immigrants foreign-born in EU, for those immigrants foreign-born in an EU member country, the ratio for Europe is 0.002347, or about 23 immigrants per 10,000 people. The highest LQs are in Luxembourg, Cyprus, Switzerland, and Liechtenstein. Luxembourg has an LQ of 10.17, which means that for every one of these immigrants in Europe, Luxembourg has about 10. Cyprus has an LQ of 4.766, Switzerland one of 4.314, Liechtenstein 3.454. The countries with the lowest LQs are Portugal, Estonia, Romania, and Croatia. And this is my map. The title of the map is a little bit cut off due to this scanner, but as you can see, those with the highest LQs are in red, and that those with the lowest LQs are in blue. It's almost impossible to see Malta on the map, so it's the little one that's at the bottom, and it was in red as well as Cyprus. Immigrants that were foreign-born in a non-EU member country, they had a ratio for Europe as 0.003133, or about 31 immigrants per 10,000 people. The highest LQs are in Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, Cyprus, and Malta. Luxembourg has an LQ of 2.968, which means for every one of these immigrants in Europe, Luxembourg has almost 3. Liechtenstein has an LQ of 2.588, Cyprus an LQ of 2.405, Malta of 2.328. The countries with the lowest LQs are Slovakia, Portugal, Bulgaria, and Latvia. And then here's the map for this data. Again, the title got cut off because of the scanner, and I had to superimpose a picture of the legend. I had to take a picture of the piece of paper because the scanner had also cut off the bottom, the blue category, so you couldn't tell what it was for. Again, the red is highest, the blue is lowest. Then I correlated my data. So I took the LQ of immigrants foreign-born in a non-EU member country versus the LQ immigrants foreign-born in an EU member country. And as you can see, there's a positive linear relationship between the two, and the correlation value is 0.77, which is relatively high and close to linear. The one data piece that sticks out among others, it's almost an outlier, is Luxembourg. That's the one that's all the way to the right of the line. I decided to put both of the maps right next to each other so you could see exactly what changes are made. In the map on the left, the LQ immigrant foreign-born in an EU member country, Iceland is in like the third category. And then for the LQ immigrant foreign-born in a non-EU member country, it jumps up to the highest category. As I said before, the European ratio for the LQ of immigrants foreign-born in an EU member country was like 23 per 10,000 people, and then for the right it was 31 per 10,000 people. So even though the highest LQ was Luxembourg for this data, was 10.25, and then the one on the left, I think the highest was 2.8 or something. The average value ended up being higher for the map on the right. My conclusion is that there is a strong positive correlation between the two variables, which means there is a relationship between the two. The countries whose LQs are highest for both categories are countries that are rather wealthy compared to some others that are in Eastern Europe. This indicates that they are all probably very desirable countries to immigrate to, which is why their LQs are higher, which I talked about in the beginning with my hypothesis. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.